Hello, I'm Larry Pressman.
And I'm David Pressman, and we are alone with Jay Kogen.
Oh, my God.
My dad's uncomfortable.
I'd like to be alone with Jay Kogen. Or you, for that matter.
You know what? Go fuck off.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
Hi, welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen. I am your host, Jay Kogen. But you knew that. This is the show where I invite smart, interesting people to come on and talk about my problems. And I have two very smart, interesting people here today, Lawrence Pressman and David Pressman, a acting family. David is the son of Lawrence, or Larry, and Larry has been a working actor, a character actor for, 64 years, for many, many years, and been doing a great job of it. And David followed in his footsteps and is also a great, very talented character actor. And I'm interested in that kind of legacy because I am the son of a writer, and I became a writer, and my son is a singer-songwriter, but also a writer, and maybe he'll go into the family business. And sort of, you want to figure out, how much do you encourage? What do you do to get involved? What is it that sparks sons to go into their dad's businesses, and how does that affect that relationship? Because I feel like probably a little closer to my dad because I'm a writer and he's a writer. We not only share family, but we share this career that we can talk about. He understands the ins and outs of what I do more than most. And that's kind of a nice bond. And I thought it'd be nice to check out what that bond is like between two actors. But first, I want to thank you for writing in and thank you for listening. The show has become quite popular on all your platforms. And I'm excited the fact that the audience has grown exponentially. So keep it up. Keep listening. Please subscribe to this show on YouTube or whatever platform you're listening to. And I appreciate it. And please write into dbawjk@gmail.com if you have comments, suggestions, or questions for our guests. And now, the great Lawrence and David Pressman.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
These are the Pressman boys.
Yes.
Lawrence Pressman and David Pressman, father and son actors. I've known David, 35 years, something like that. That's a long, long time. And we have been poker friends, but more than that, I have been his boss on many occasions.
Yes.
I have hired him on every possible occasion I possibly could. You know why I could hire him?
He's funny.
He's really fucking great.
Yeah,
he's so good.
I agree.
I'm always fascinated by talented people, where they come from, and how they develop, and the fact that he comes from an acting family was very interesting to me.
Fourth generation.
I know, but that's even more interesting to me. That his mom was. Your parents were not actors, but his mom's parents were actors, and their parents were actors, correct? Or father?
Grandfather. David's great-grandfather, grandmother, who was also an actress.
Right.
Lana, me.
Right.
Him.
The great-grandfather was like a Russian bigwig teaching actor guy, right?
No, I don't think he taught. I wouldn't.
He disliked me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he disliked me.
Violently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We used to go to visit him in Laguna along the cliffs.
Yeah.
And when David would come, he'd be there for 5 minutes. And Mr. Susanian, whose nickname was Ziji Koka.
Right. Everybody's nickname.
Would say, of course, would say, take him out.
He despised you particularly, or just not kids, or what?
Well, there was one time I dropped gum on his carpet. And he was not happy with me.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Is
He
that
said,
it?
you get out.
So there was a cause.
Yeah.
It sounds like he was not a happy guy.
He decided one day, I'd always heard of as Zizikoka, which was because they couldn't pronounce Dedushka, which is the Russian for grandfather. So the kids, my wife and her brother, David's uncle, called him Dedushka. And so he one day said to me, after years of calling him Dedushka, he said, I don't think it is it's not a sign of respect for you to call me Dedushka. Right. And I said, what do you want me to call you?
Right.
He said, Mr. Susanian.
Oh,
I
fantastic.
said, great. You can call me Mr. Pressman. And that was the end of that.
Okay.
It's just a terrible family.
Yeah, awful.
No, he was a difficult man, though.
But that's fine. It's fine. It's fine either way.
Kind of true.
my show, which I'm sure, because you don't listen to podcasts, but had you listened to podcasts,
I would have listened
you
to
would have been taken by the very premise of my podcast, which is I come and invite people into the show to solve my problems. And you're here to solve a problem of mine, which is I went into the business of my father's, and my son might be going into my business. So because you are father-son people in the same business, I want to know how that works, how that's been working for you. Have you found being born into a show business family helpful to some extent, unhelpful to some extent?
I think helpful.
Where's the help been?
Well, the helpful, I mean, at first it was getting my SAG-AFTRA card.
Sure.
Actually SAG card back then because of my father. And how
did that come about? How do you give you can't just, you have to get a job.
Yes. Well, my father was on a show called Mulligan Stew. I'm sure everyone has heard of that. Yeah.
Applause.
Yeah.
Mulligan Stew.
Yeah. It was it was on, what was it, on NBC in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. The competition was like soap and some other giant. It got canceled. But there was a guest star part that came up, might have been or a little like a smaller part. And hey, can my son do this? And they're like, all right.
Was that hard to ask the producers? Can my son do this?
No. She had her son. The producer had her son in the show as well. But the way I remember it is, do you know the phrase "hock me a chinik"?
Sure.
Okay, which means to
stop bothering me.
Stop bothering me.
Yeah.
He kept doing. He had to act, and his mother had been a child actress.
Right.
So on Broadway. Very different than on film. Mm-hmm. So he said, I said, okay, I'll go. And I asked the producer. It wasn't so hard by saying, your son is in it.
Right.
It'd be nice. But we made a rule that was the...
Sorry.
Jesus. God.
Sorry.
We cut a lot of stuff out, but we're keeping that in.
Please leave that in.
Yeah, you're right.
Get out of here. The thing about it was that we made a rule that he couldn't do it past that one show.
Okay.
He'd get his card. You had a stage name. Do you remember your stage name?
Oh, yeah.
What was your stage name?
My birth name I'm not David Pressman.
Right.
It was David Yedagara.
Right.
And I didn't like that. I thought it was a silly name. So I went with David Gar. Mm-hmm. So on Mulligan Stew, I am, my credit is David Gar.
All right.
And then that went away when I felt bad.
Very good.
And then he officially adopted me.
Right.
When I used my stepdad. Did you know?
I did know this.
Okay.
I did know this.
I got him when he was 6.
I was going to get into this.
I'm sorry.
We'll get into it later.
But it kind of defeats the point of it, which is not exactly it. But he's still your dad.
No, of course.
That's the whole point of it.
Of course.
But yes, I know that there was a circuitous route to become David Pressman.
You actually started using my name way before I adopted you.
Yeah, I know.
In school, because he didn't like Yedagarf, and they kept calling him.
You had a jerk off, you had a
jerk
piss off, you had a fuss off, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Pressman was easier.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could think of some horrible things about Pressman too. Somehow something rhymed. Yeah, it's bad.
No, not much.
But I don't understand. You're going to get him a SAG card, but said that's it.
Because
why would you get somebody?
His mother and I were both working actors.
Right.
And we wanted, we didn't want to be babysitters for a kid actor.
Right.
And we both thought kid actor.
I understand.
Well, yeah, you. But we both thought that kid actors have a really tough road to hoe. And I've worked with a lot of kid actors.
Right.
And some of them have turned out brilliantly. Mm-hmm. Some of them turned out very sad.
Yes.
And but mostly it was our selfishness. We just said, we have our careers and...
But I found also, when I look closely at the history of other children who are not actors, some of them turn out brilliantly and some of them turn out sad. So it turns out you don't have to be in show business to have those two outcomes.
That's true. But I think the pressures on child actors are very unique to that, particularly in film and television, as opposed to the stage, where you go, once the rehearsals are over. My wife used to take the 104 bus down with her dad, David's grandfather, and he'd drop her off at her theater, and he'd go to his theater, and he'd pick her up, and he'd take her home, and she'd do her homework on the bus and backstage.
Yeah, that's a different different,
very
difficult
different,
life.
Very
Yes.
different life. And the fame aspect of it is the main thing.
Yeah.
When you're on television, you're in everybody's living room for a period of time
Right.
every week if it's a hit show. So Neil Patrick Harris on Doogie was 14 when we started. 14.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
seemed, and his parents did the same thing Lana and I did with David. They as soon as they could, when Neil was liberated.
Yes.
They went back to New Mexico and became lawyers again.
Yeah, emancipated, but yes. that's
Emancipated.
exactly right. Yes. But Neil Patrick Harris wanted to do that. Like he's one of those guys who likes doing stuff.
The really good ones,
Yeah.
I think, and I think David was a good one, and we were a little afraid of that.
Yeah.
Because I think we knew that.
Right.
But the really good ones, like Jodie Foster with whom I worked, and Christy McNichol with whom I worked, they are naturals. They just do it. David has never studied much.
Yes. That's a problem. We've talked about it over and over again.
Yeah.
We wish he had, because that was our background.
Right. Well, you studied with like Elia Kazan?
Elia Kazan. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, he didn't care for me much. I wasn't a street guy, so I remember when I
Kind of a grandfather-grandson relationship.
no worse. Listen, I love my grandfather.
Yeah, no.
My father I had trouble with,
right.
but he was brutal.
Yeah.
He was a brutal guy. He's very. If you've read his book, you know that he made choices all about Elia, Gad,
Yeah.
as we used to call him.
Right.
But he was, when they refused me entry into the company, said, no, you're not going to make it. He said, from the back of the room, he was lying on a piano smoking a cigar bigger than my thigh. And he said, lying on the piano, he said, hey, kid, the reason we're not taking you is you talk too fucking good. Whoa. Thank you, kid.
Right.
But later, that next year when I wasn't in the company, I got a Broadway show right away, a lead, and won an award, and I was invited back into the company.
You showed him. You should come back smoking a cigar.
But I
showed my parents by dropping out of high school and getting a job as an usher at the Beverly Center movie theater.
Well done, sir. Well
That's
done.
right.
Very well done.
Thank you.
All right. But did you feel like you had to, being the son of an actor and an actress, pressure to succeed in this, or just felt like that's just a family business and it'll work out?
I never felt the pressure. Like most actors that know my dad, I always wanted the career of the steady and mostly stellar work that you do.
Mulligan Stew, for example. Yeah.
And that's just
Paid
what
the
I
bills.
that's what I
Have striven for.
I couldn't think of that. And other actors.
Right.
But I was never made to feel like, oh, you need to, your dad's this and you gotta.
Not made to feel, but do you ever?
And I never felt that either.
Well, that's good, because that's not in.
Or my mom either.
Good.
And
So when you went into your dad's profession, writing,
Yeah.
was there opposition from your father?
Incredible opposition.
Really?
Yes. He
Wow.
didn't want me to suffer the indignities of show business and the sort of the gypsy lifestyle of going from job to job to job to job.
That's amazing
And,
to me.
and even though he was successful, we've all seen people who are struggling, and it's not as difficult life, and you have to really love it to go into it. And he thought at the time, being a lawyer or being an agent, working a steady gig with a steady company was a much better lifestyle for his beloved son.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because I just assumed that your father did what we did with him, which was we never, ever said, you're not going to be an actor. And when he quit school, we were on a plane going to Russia for a vacation, and he announced it, and we got back, and he'd already done it.
Right.
And we just said, well, you have to get a job, but until you can get an acting job, but we never assumed that you wouldn't be an actor.
Right.
His mother, I'm a college graduate. His mother barely got out of performing arts. She graduated actually on the road.
Mm-hmm.
She was on a national company of a show. She always thought he'd go down the aisle with a cap and gown and a whole
Right.
schmear. I never thought that.
She was incorrect.
She was incorrect.
Yeah, she was
Well,
incorrect.
I never thought, but I never thought so. I thought he's never gonna do anything but act.
Right.
He's never gonna be a bricklayer.
Why did you think that? Why did you think
Because
that?
I knew what I guess I never thought about it, but I think I recognized in David that my dreams, my obsession with it, because I came from a tiny town in Kentucky to
Let me guess. Cynthia.
So almost close.
Okay, wait.
Cynthiana.
Cynthiana. Okay.
Because there were two sisters,
All right, right.
Cynthia and Anna.
All right, okay.
But my mother's parents were Russian Jewish immigrants who got the first Jew store
Right.
in that town.
Right.
And then
Well,
my
that's where all
dad,
the Jews went to Kentucky.
they flocked.
Sure. Yeah.
They flocked.
Mm-hmm. Bourbon and matzah. Those
yeah.
are two things famous for.
My grandmother kept kosher in that town.
Okay.
Lexington was nearby, and she'd send somebody over to get the week's supply of bad meat and bad
Right.
chicken.
Right. Sure. But it's been blessed, but it's terrible.
It's been blessed because it is terrible.
Yes,
They say,
exactly. You need to bless it.
please God, take care of it.
Yeah. No, I understand.
But my father was so radical about my not being an actor that he once threatened to chain me to a post in the basement until I changed my mind.
Right.
He was that angry about it.
Sure. What did he want you to be?
Anything but an actor.
Yeah.
When I was on Broadway, many years later, I was on Broadway in Played Against Sam. I was above the title of the play in front of Diane Keaton. That'll never happen again. And I'd replaced Tony Roberts, so I got his billing. I never would have gotten it on my own. And Dad came to New York on business, and he said, I need to talk to you. I said, great. So I took him out to dinner on a Sunday night, because Sundays were off in those days. Took him out to dinner at a French place, and he ordered a drink. I ordered a drink. He said, you drink? I said, yeah, Dad, I'm 28 years old, getting a divorce. I drink. He said, well, I got a proposition for you. I have just enough money left to put you through medical school. I said, Dad, I'm above the title of a play.
Right.
I'm making lots of money in commercials. I'm doing better than both of my brothers who work for you. Why would you do that? He said, I said, and I flunked chemistry. Without a beat, he said, okay, lawyer. And this was at the end of his life where he got really sick. And it was touching and it was irritating.
Right. Well, he obviously wanted what he thought was best for you. I mean, aside from chaining you to a basement.
But that's the whole thing about fathers.
Yeah.
If you've noticed that there is a point in fathering a son when you no longer have power. I can't say, give me your car keys, or I'm not giving you my car keys. I can only say, do you think that's a good idea? So at some point it shifts to friend.
Right.
A friend with benefits.
Well,
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's not the right phrase. That's not exactly the right phrase. But yes, no, it becomes a friendship that has fraught with a little bit more emotional meaning. Yeah, I get your meaning. No, my dad was not horrible. Like when I started going into writing and eventually got my first job, he was excited for me. He just was worried that I wouldn't succeed. So he wanted to prevent me from feeling the failures of not succeeding. But when I started to do not bad and actually started winning awards and kind of stuff, very proud and very happy about it.
You know, I honestly can say I never ever worried about whether he would succeed.
Thank God.
I didn't. I just didn't cross. I was so aware. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was so aware that he had the gift for it and the desire for it and the obsession for it, because it's obsessive.
What's the best advice he ever gave you about acting?
Wear a condom.
Yeah.
You're going to cut that part out, right?
Sure.
Okay, good. That's
We can. Cut the condom joke out.
Yeah.
Keep it in.
Or keep it in.
Okay, cool. Whatever.
50 says you keep it in.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow, the best advice. I don't know if he ever really gave me advice. I would just do. He always say, "Be nice to the crew." Actually,
Right.
that was a big thing.
Right.
And that's what he still did. And people, the crew loves him.
Yeah. Why not?
And just be nice. You're lucky. You're so lucky to have this job.
My father has the same advice.
So lucky
Same
to
advice.
That's good advice.
Be aware that you're lucky. be aware that everybody around you is doing their job. Be kind to them. Be aware that anybody you talk to will remember you, and you're going to build these relationships, hopefully through the rest of your career. And, be nice to people on the way up, be nice to people on the way down, and just don't get involved his big thing was don't get involved in like office politics. Don't get involved in gossip.
Your dad.
My dad, yeah. This is when he finally agreed, committed that I was going to be in show business.
You give up after a while.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he also put me in TV shows as an actor. It's not like he said, my son shall never be in show business. He did. I was a kid actor in a bunch of things, and he definitely helped me along the way, and I was doing stand-up comedy and other things. He just was hoping for some security. Well, let's get to the other side then. What is the proudest moment? What's been your proudest moment of watching him and his career?
I have lived long enough, I wish David's mother had, to see David be who he is now. Mm-hmm. That's very prideful for me.
Yeah.
Because you're a wonderful person. He's a wonderful son to an aging father.
Don't roll your eyes. You're aging.
I wasn't rolling my eyes at you. I was rolling my eyes at him.
Right. Okay.
I'll see you soon, buddy.
Right.
I like the way David has matured. And no father should have more to say about a son than that, I think.
I agree. I agree. That's great. As his friend, I can say he's a great person. I can absolutely say he's a great person. I like your talent. You could also be talented and be a complete jerk.
Yeah,
You're not a jerk.
He's not a jerk.
I can have actual conversations with him and funny conversations with him, and I can say things that I think are emotional. He'll understand, and he'll chime in, and he's not afraid of that. And it's like, that's the sign of a great person to me. I think I don't know everybody in my friend group can meet that description.
I think you're very honorable, David. And that's something that when he was a teenager and I was ready to kill him because his adolescence was.
We didn't get along so well.
Tell me your experience of the adolescence.
Here's the thing. I didn't do drugs.
Right.
And I didn't drink.
What were you acting out against?
Do you know? Because I don't actually know what I was acting out
against. But what were you doing? What was your behavior like that what is he talking about?
I just wouldn't listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
We would get into huge fights. I remember knocking like a window out or something like that of the door, and then you were chasing me down the street.
Yep.
That was fun.
Okay.
I was just a dick. I don't know.
All right.
I didn't respect him saying, I think there was a part of me like early on was like, that's not my real father.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Right.
I think I did that a little bit.
Yeah, you did. But that was minimal.
I don't know.
I think he had some kids do, some kids don't. I think when the hormones kicked in with you, I think it was a real civil war.
Yeah.
Between his body and his mind and his, all that stuff that hits you during those years. And like most funny people, he has a very serious side, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that serious side got involved when he was a teenager. So he was facing demons. He would talk about them, so I didn't know what they were. I just know that there were times when he was just, but his mother always said the same thing. He's got a good heart.
Yeah.
And ultimately, my proudest moment is that she was right, as she always was. But
I was overweight. I had a bunch of zits. I just felt terrible about myself.
Yeah. Okay. So just angry at the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
He was a world.
Didn't have the greatest high school experience,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Sometimes taking out that anger with the people who love you the most, who know deep in your heart will put up with it, is the way to get it out. I understand that.
And it's parents' responsibility to understand that.
Yeah.
And it was really, I would go to my mom when I was upset mostly. And then when Larry would chime in, fuck off. I don't want to hear you. Yeah.
Right.
I think it was also that male thing that happens between fathers and son. They're finally two males in the pit, locking horns. Yeah. And particularly
also, I didn't mean to cut you off, but also you're like, he's glass half full guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes, and I'm not.
Right.
And sometimes that gets very frustrating.
Right.
To hear that kind
because you're not connecting on that level.
Yeah.
You want somebody to chime in with you.
He goes to dark places.
Yeah.
That I can't even think about.
Right.
Can I say the proudest I am?
Yes.
Is that what you're going to ask me?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Because I was thinking about it. I think the proudest, and it doesn't have to do with acting.
Okay.
When my mom got sick when I was 18, and I mean, just my dad taking care of her for 25 years, just sacrificing a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Never heard him complaining. He made a complaint to other people.
Right.
I never heard it. And I was like, wow. And then that's when, this is my hero.
Right.
And he's mine.
Well, that's fantastic. I have an acting question for the two of you. Since acting is an art and acting is an expression, it's interesting when people, discover that art and decide to make it their life. And I think it's also interesting when it becomes the family business. So what is it about acting? Is it a skill to you? Is it an art to you? Is it something, do you feel like you why are you compelled to do it?
I think I was a very unhappy child, and I think that I wanted to always be someone else. And I think that this was the perfect profession for someone who was not happy being themselves. For years, I was that way.
But you got happy being yourself.
Yeah.
So then why do you still act?
Through acting. Well, now it's more forensic. It's about why does that guy do that in the script? Mm-hmm. Why does he do that? Well, I did that, such and such. It's more.
So that's the craft.
It's
of it.
more it's both an art and a craft.
He's much more the craft guy than I am. I just love it.
Right.
I mean, I love the whole thing about going to a sound stage, go to a studio, I'm dressing up, putting makeup on, and then getting to do that. I just love it. I just like that.
How about the thing itself?
You could be going to sound stage and doing a lot of things.
No, but I'm okay at acting. I can do it pretty well.
You're very good at it.
Thank you. And if you're good at something, and I think being an actor, when you're working, I think it's the coolest thing. When you're not, it's awful, and it's mostly you're not. But I can't think of anything else I would rather do that makes me actually happy.
When you get blown up in Independence Day.
Yes. Oh, please.
Gets on a helicopter or plane.
Yeah, helicopter.
And
I find that very hard to watch.
Of course. But
like that.
There's part of me that laughs.
Sure.
There's part of me that laughs.
You should laugh.
You laugh because you know what he's doing.
Yes. The reaction of what's going on and thing just makes me laugh. Now, it's not. I don't know that it's intended for me to laugh necessarily, but it's not intended for me to laugh. Like I'm enjoying this weird action alien, thing, and it was pretty interesting.
Right, and there's Pressman.
Yes.
Getting blown up by a helicopter.
But also, there's a look on your face, like, uh-oh.
No, what? It's going to happen. No, I know, yeah.
Yeah. That's amusing. I get shot in a movie. I get shot in the head in a movie, and I always get a laugh from my how long it takes me to fall down. It took me too long. I know I'm not up there for 30 seconds, but I'm up there for like a fraction too long of a second. And I guess
he didn't cut it. The guy that shot it didn't cut it.
No, did not cut it.
So that's your opinion, not his opinion.
I've watched it with audience. I get a laugh. I get a laugh.
Maybe he wanted to laugh.
I do a lot of parts where people make fun of me. I die in a lot of different ways and things, and people think that's hilarious.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
How do you learn over time, both of you, this is a question for both of you, how do you learn over time to realize that when you come to work and the work becomes a little bit like a family thing, but that it's not really a family because it's going to separate, it's going to end soon, and some of these people you will never talk to again? At what point do you realize there's a barrier? I should protect myself a little bit from feeling too close to these people, or don't you feel that way?
I never do that.
Okay.
I just get sad.
Okay.
Yeah. The next day, I'm just like, oh,
right.
God, that was great.
But then you call them, hey, you want to get lunch? And like, I'm busy. And
yeah.
People,
very few people
away.
That you still keep in contact with, I think.
No, I don't think I ever had any expectations that anybody would be my friend after.
No, see, I did.
Working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
But also, I've made some close friends from working with them.
That's right. But I mean, which is great and true, but it's interesting. There's a closeness when you're working with the people on a staff of a show or with actors, where you're seeing everybody every day and you're getting to learn about everything that's going on in their lives, and you start meeting their kids and meeting their family, and you feel like, oh, okay, well, this is what friendship is like. And then suddenly the show is over and it's like, that was not a friendship. Now I know that was not a friendship. That's a hard lesson to learn at first.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
A serious one. And I've come to realize that in some ways it was my need.
Oh, 100%.
Rather than their need.
Yeah.
And that therefore I misread them.
There's no obligation for them to be my friend. They're working, and I get that. But I misunderstood.
They seem to really like me.
Exactly.
I don't understand. Why don't they want to hang out?
Oh, well, I guess they're trying to, have a good work environment and be professional and all that kind of stuff, and I'm misinterpreting that.
But you never thought of it as just turning the page. It's another chapter.
I do now. But not at first. Not in the first couple shows I worked on.
Well, when you're young,
you're stupid.
No,
young people
you're
are
very
stupid.
Vulnerable.
Yes, that's stupid.
Yeah, you're dumb.
Young people are dumb, and I was dumb, and
Jay was very dumb.
Yeah, I'm very
he
dumb.
Was dumb, and you were dumb too.
Yeah, we're dumb.
Can I have a copy of this tape?
You can. It'll be permanently on the internet.
I don't want the whole time. I just want that section.
You can summon. You'll be able to summon this up at any given moment for the rest of your life and through the rest of the universe in perpetuity.
I don't know. He's not very savvy with the technological.
Well,
stuff.
you can call somebody.
Oh no,
that's not true.
Sorry.
What's your greatest technical achievement?
Well, since he berated me into getting an iPhone and then refused to tell me how to do it, I'd have to say the iPhone.
Okay, so you can work an iPhone. You can do
I've got my
enough of what you need to do to get by.
And then if I get into trouble, I do like the commercial. I call him.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes he has to call somebody else, but
my mom every 2 days tells me her iPhone's broken because she doesn't know how to do something, or she has readjusted a knob and it's black. The phone broke. I said, Mom, you've turned the brightness down to 0. Let's turn it right back up.
I think I intuitively learned how to do it, but I did take. I went to the iPhone store.
Sure, the classes there that are really unhelpful.
They're always so far above anything.
Exactly.
Absolutely unhelpful.
Yeah, the Genius Bar.
You don't remember? Yeah, you don't remember any of that stuff.
No.
Yeah,
You know what I don't remember? I bet your mother's the same. I don't remember the names of any of it.
Yeah.
I still don't know what download and upload actually means.
Okay.
I have to remind myself
let's go through this for a second. What do you think download means?
Take it down.
From where?
Someplace.
All right. Okay. So that's right. From you have a computer.
Yeah.
You have a computer, and you're going to download it, take it from someplace into your computer.
And to put it in the
So
computer.
what's the upload?
Take it from there and put it someplace else.
Got it. That's exactly right. That's it.
Intuitive.
It's easy as pie.
Intuitive.
It's that's good.
It's not easy.
Yeah. My father, his method of going to the Genius Bar, he would go to the Genius Bar and take pages of notes. Pages of notes of how to do things, pages of notes, and then never absorb any of it because he's busy writing down the pages of notes, and then he'll come back and just ask me how to fix something.
It's a little like that.
It's
a little like that.
Without the notes, but the same kind of like, I think I understand and then I don't.
I actually was able, my proudest moment technically, you asked,
I did,
is actually that I was able to go online with a router guy about my router and go through all the steps and have a new router.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask deeply about what a router is and whether you really did it because I'm not sure.
A router is the thing that boosts the signal.
Okay,
and allows me to
okay, great. So you installed the router.
I reinstalled it.
You reinstalled the router.
And then it broke down.
Okay, fantastic.
I probably broke it.
Good for you.
It took 2 weeks.
I'm sure. My parents couldn't do that. My parents still don't know where the router is. I've shown them 40 times.
He still has a VHS, DVR.
Right.
DVR? No.
DVR.
VCR.
Sorry, VCR hooked up to the TV.
Okay.
I have a very great interest in art, and a lot of DVDs were about arcane art things that I couldn't function or get on the internet. In the forms, the long form, so you can actually learn from it.
Did you absorb his love of fine? Is it fine art, painting? What kind of art?
No art.
Absolutely not.
No, okay.
I haven't really.
Okay, so what kind of art are they DVDs? About painters and sculptures?
I'm interested in painting. Painting is primarily it. I do like sculpture, but I'm less educated in sculpture.
Do you paint yourself?
No.
Okay. So
no, I think I've always thought maybe I should do it as a therapy, but then I have him. So.
He's a super fan of the great
fan of the great painters.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite painter?
Matisse, 3.
All right.
3 I can't live without. Matisse, Cézanne, and Rembrandt.
Okay.
There's a portrait in New York City that's part of the Frick collection, of a Rembrandt self-portrait that's probably as big as this wall, that I go to visit every time I'm in New York.
Yeah.
Every single time. And I was just obsessed with it. And I read in the New Yorker that Diana Rigg, when she would act in New York, Diana Rigg would go and look at that painting and called it, and I agree, the greatest acting lesson you can ever have. That's how good that painting is.
Because?
It's of himself,
right,
which is, I always think, hard to look at yourself
right,
in the mirror or anyplace else for that matter. Certainly never looked myself on television. He has found something through paint. He has evoked his own spirit.
So you can feel, well, by looking at the paint, you can feel it.
I know exactly. I know how he breathes.
Okay.
I know where how his eyes go.
Picasso's are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I think
because
that's, yeah.
He always
like
the reinterpretation, the scrambling of the world, and then putting it down on paper.
Yeah.
See,
I'm just trying to.
Rembrandt is
make
to me is fascinating, but more than anything, it's because of the lighting. To me, the lighting in Rembrandt is amazing. To have somebody who can master not just realism, but evoke emotion through lighting, through the light source from where it comes and how it is. It's the precursor to cinematography. It's sort of like,
if you're going to go to New York soon.
Oh, I've never been. I'm joking. I go.
You were born in New York.
Yes, I was born in New York. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
The Frick stuff is now at the old Whitney on Madison Avenue. It's called something else. Go and take a look at that portrait.
Okay.
There's just, and Cézanne I like because of the brushstrokes, but the lighting in Rembrandt, the thing that does, that is the thing that I like about him most, is the humanity.
Yes.
He's like Shakespeare.
Humanity, but with a mood, it's everything.
But the light
has a light in the mood.
Bringing out.
See, these are conversations we never have.
No, that's
about
true.
Of fine painting.
We
never.
We also don't have conversations about sports.
No.
Oh yeah. Well, he likes tennis, but also books. Like his home.
Right.
It reminds me of Burgess Meredith in the Twilight Zone. That whole thing. Just books everywhere.
Right.
This is embarrassing, but I haven't read a book since 1983.
Right.
Pet Cemetery.
But it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
Yeah, he spelled cemetery with an S. It's fun.
It is fun.
Nor does he intend to ever read a book again.
He doesn't need to. He's got many other things to entertain.
He has his phone.
Yeah. Yes, but sports. We text about Dodgers sometimes, and we
big Dodger fan.
Are you a huge Dodger fan?
I am.
What?
That's Brooklyn Dodgers.
This is a Brooklyn Dodger.
Oh,
that's
the original.
Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Well, it's not an original, but I'm from Brooklyn, so I get to wear it. But also, it's the Dodger. It's a Dodger cap. Now, do people mistake it for a Braves hat or a Boston hat? Yes, they do.
Well, I would because
exactly.
But David's mother, born in Manhattan, so the Yankees obviously.
Sure.
She was a Dodgers fan.
That's because she's a good person.
She
has
was.
a good heart.
Yeah, I got all my sports love from my mom.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. My father is also a big sports fan, but he enjoys sports in a different way. He's furious at the sporting team all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's one of those guys who gets angry?
He's angry all the time.
I have a friend, Tony Roberts, he has the Mets, which is a lot to get angry about. Except this year I think they're doing okay. But he takes it very personally.
My father, if the Dodgers aren't winning or that somebody makes an error or strikes out or you strike out most of the time if you're a baseball player. If a great baseball player strikes out, it's like, what are they doing? It's like, it's really hard.
I will say I get angry when I'm watching games.
Yeah.
And I'm on a thread of like Dodger fans and we're, texting each other saying kind of terrible things.
My dad gets so angry. I have vowed to not get that angry. It's hard.
Yeah.
Baseball is hard. If you're a professional baseball player, it's very hard.
Maybe the hardest of any of the sports, right?
Hitting a baseball could be the hardest.
And also being a Dodger fan, while they're good, it breaks your heart every year.
Yes, because they're great during the season, and then in the playoffs they're done. Eat dirt.
Get some therapy.
Well, this is the therapy.
This is why we're here.
All right, it is time for a section of the show I like to call Listener Mail.
Oh.
Now it's time for Listener Mail.
This is from Carla, listener Carla. Thank you for writing in, by the way. If you have listener mail, please write into dbawjk@gmail.com and give me a listener mail so I can read your question on the air to my guests. And this is from Carla. Thank you for writing in. It says, Dear Jay and guests, they say live in the moment, but is worrying about the future pointless? How much should we allow ourselves to let go? And how do we judge whether our present is good enough? Maybe we should be worrying about the future more to make life better in the future than we do now. What do we think?
Well, I worry about like my future or the future.
In general, should we, people say live in the moment. That's where your happiness is. If you just sort of cast off worry, we can't change the future. We shouldn't worry about things we cannot change.
But I can't do it.
Right. Okay. But would we be happier doing that? Or would this listener saying maybe worrying about the future is helpful to some extent?
I don't think, not for me.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it makes everything worse.
So you worry about the future, but you don't recommend it?
No, I would not recommend worrying
All right.
about the future because it really is.
Right.
I'm a live in the moment guy.
Yeah.
And increasingly more so as I have less moments ahead of me to live.
Oh.
But there's a difference between living in the moment and being forgetful of duty and respect for things.
Right.
So that if we're going to only live in the moment, this planet, which is already in trouble, would be even worse trouble. So you have to balance the two.
Tell me about what it's like to be 85 and thinking about mortality.
I thought about mortality all my life.
We all
I think. But I think I was really early. I mean, by 4, I came in one day and said to my mother, "So I'm going to die, right?" Mm-hmm. And she dropped a pan and said, "What?" And I must have seen a dead bird or something. I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to die. We're all going to die, right?" And she was like, "Yes."
Right.
Who is this child? I think I'm not afraid of it.
Okay.
I think it's a kind of a progression. I think he's not so good about it.
I'm afraid.
Afraid of his
Michael.
Well, yes.
Both of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he wants, but I think it's easier when you're older and it's imminent to make your peace with it.
But we don't know how imminent it is. You don't know whether
it's imminent. I didn't say how imminent.
Exactly. But I understand. But
if I live in the moment just now and enjoying this lovely get together we've just done, then I don't have to worry about what happens then.
My father is similarly we have a birthday celebration. You go, well, I don't know how many more of these I have, and then
it's on your head.
Jokes like that all the time, and I hate it.
But it's their reality. So it's my dad's reality. He's 90, my dad, and he's right.
God bless him.
Yeah, it's like 90. I don't know how many more he has either, and I don't know how many more I have, and I'm not 90. I'm 60. So like,
right, but he does it more to annoy me.
Yeah,
so he knows that it's
but he's acknowledging his reality.
I don't do it to annoy you. That would be foolish. I think what I do is I worry about what will happen when I'm not here. And I guess I'm trying to get you used to it in my own fumbling way.
That's one of the things I do. Maybe live in the moment. I don't want to think about all that.
Right.
I can't even tell him where the will is.
Right. You can't?
He hasn't even...
well, for God's sakes, tell somebody.
I have...
He has. But I won't have
right.
those conversations. Don't want them.
My dad sent me exactly how he wants his funeral to go, what music to be played, what he would... All that stuff. I have all those instructions.
Oh, he doesn't want...
Can I have that conversation with you and you tell David?
But he doesn't want a memorial. He would get mad at me if
then I'll do what he wants. I'm just saying that's something he should have the opportunity to say.
Yes.
You're my memorial.
But I don't want to you have to go to the business manager's office. We have to talk about the will and stuff. I don't want to do that now. Yeah. Are you sick? And I'm like, does that mean something?
That's because you're living in denial.
Well, you're not living in the moment, that's for sure.
Right.
I don't want to.
I know that you don't want to. I don't want my dad's funeral directions. Who wants that?
Yes.
But I'm out of respect. I'm going to read them and follow them and figure it out.
Well, yes, but the business manager has them all, so I could deal with her. I don't want to. I mean, when
But you and I, we could die tomorrow too.
No, for sure. And I almost did.
Right. I know you did.
He very close. That was the worst moment of my life.
Yeah.
That was the moment.
On the upside, he lost a lot of weight.
The single, yes, he looks great.
I look great.
He did look great. Yeah.
No, I mean, it was
working
very scary.
It was very, very scary. Yes.
But that was unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, of course, and thank God you made it. But it was very scary.
To answer that,
yes,
Carla's question.
Yes.
I think she'll be a lot happier living in the moment, as long as she has an eye out for what's coming and an eye in the past, a judicious eye about what served her in the past that might help her in the moment.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's a much better answer than I gave or will give. Right. But I mean, just for me, living in the future it's just for me. It's a lot of panic.
Yeah.
And my mind just races. And
That's
everybody.
everybody. That's everybody living in the future. Everybody's future is full of worry.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why you shouldn't live in the future, because you're worrying about something that may not come to pass. And why worry about it now? Because you can worry about it if it does come to pass.
So you're living in the moment.
I'm trying to be. I would try to live in the moment and not worry about the serenity, like change the things you can and not worry about the things you can't. That I subscribe to that wholeheartedly. But and one of them, like we talk about mortality, one of them is my mortality. If I were to die, I have a will, I have a stuff, and if something were to happen to me, I hope it'd all be sorted out, and I want everybody to know that I had a very happy life, and I'm okay with everything. I'm okay. That's the main message, is I'm okay no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been a delight. Thank you for being here. And,
thank you for having us, Jay.
Solve my worries about my son. You've made my worries exactly the same.
Right, yeah,
I didn't say not to worry.
No, I know it's fine, but
It'll be fine.
I really appreciate the both of you being here. I love that you love each other. I love seeing fathers and sons and their relationships. I have a great relationship with my dad. I hope to have a great relationship with my son through the years, and it's beautiful to see. And it's
look at us. Like what we're doing,
and especially beautiful because in many ways you chose each other.
That's true.
And that's even sweeter.
That's true.
That's even sweeter. So thank you for being here, and good luck with that.
Thanks, Jay.
And thank you for being here, audience of Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you don't be alone and get together with somebody, and I'll see you next time.
Don't be alone.